for Rebecca Roberts.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Jonathan. This is called I Was 26 and He Was Loaded. When I was 26, Robert Plant licked me. Now, I know what's running through your mind because it's running through mine too. But alas, that was not the case. And honestly, when one is up close and personal with a man these days, sex is not the goal, but rather the ball to dodge. You are more compelled to get him comfy seat while you call Betty Ford and ask if they have a local facility and car service. So when I was 26, Robert Plant licked my face. I suppose if you're now 26, you may not know who the hell he is, and I really hope that's not the case. It would be an incredible shame and really humiliating for those of us who know him as the actual Golden God. Led Zeppelin is, and always will be, the most kick-ass rock band ever. Don't get me wrong. I love the Beatles. I heart the Stones, the Who, the Police, Genesis, Tom Petty and his Heartbreakers. Of course, I have a special love for AC/DC and their big balls. I had to do it. And then there's Van Halen. Van Halen makes me weak. David Lee Roth years, of course. With his rat's nest hair blown into some kind of early onset comb-over, his orange skin, his red chaps, his bottle of Jack, and the flexibility of a 12-year-old female gymnast. He was dreamy, and the model for many boyfriends to come, but boys without his talent or his chaps. Yes, I worked really hard at being a white trash rocker girl. But my dreams were dashed by my parents and their love of the arts, French cooking, the perfect rose garden, homegrown rhubarb, lawn parties, string quartets, gazebos, and words like gauche and uncouth. Harry and Gloria may have won in the end. I may have turned to Esprit instead of Mr. Rags. Nordstrom instead of Hot Topic, if you will. But no matter how upper middle class we became, no matter how many chunky sweaters and saddle shoes I had, yes, I had saddle shoes, I always had Led Zeppelin. So, when the real Golden God came into my restaurant in San Francisco, I was dumbfounded. I mean, it was like finding out that Santa Claus was real and drunk. There he stood in front of me, a living legend who should be dead, dead, 1,000 times over. As he passed me, a cloud of liquor and smoke engulfed him like the dirt cloud around Pigpen and Charlie Brown. I knew then that this night would not tarnish his reputation. With amazement and pure love, I watched as he and his guests slightly stumbled to their table right in my section. I stood there, frozen, as I thought, here was a man younger than my father, but looked like my grandfather. But I loved him. Here was a man who should not be putting one more drop of liquor in his body for fear of pickling every internal organ. But I loved him. Here was a man, a middle-aged man, wearing the most god-awful, horizontally striped black and yellow schoolboy sweater. But I loved him. drunk, old, leathery, giant bumblebee of a mess. And still I loved him. As I approached the table, all I could say in my head was, "Me waitress, you Robert Plant." That wouldn't get me far. So, between trying not to say that out loud, trying not to speak in a Frankenstein voice, biting my tongue about my love for him, biting my tongue about my hate for his sweater, and just simply not expressing my sincere concern for his liver, I tried to take their order, but I was a hot mess. I scribbled down what they wanted, and I ran into the kitchen like I had been frightened by a spider, and I tried to decipher my own scrawl. After many trips back and forth to the bar, checking my lipstick in the reflection of a butter knife I kept in my pocket, forgetting about all my other tables, and a lot of peeking around the corner with all the cooks who were squealing like schoolgirls, I just barely did my job. It was not easy. I mean, this is the iconic crooner that sang all of my teen angst over and over and over again until I could take no more, and I had to write down every lyric to whatever song was tearing my heart out and send it to whatever boy was tearing my heart out. And then I cried myself to sleep time and time again. And of course, his was the music I first heard when I first had sex. And many times thereafter. I mean, just last week, for Christ's sake. Actually, this story's really old. Safe to say that Led Zeppelin is the soundtrack to mine and many a sex life. They should have won Oscars instead of Grammys. At 13, I played Fool in the Rain as I pierced my own ears with a sewing needle, an ice cube, and a potato. Fearless days. I remember thinking I hit gold when I discovered the secret about the In Through the Outdoor album. And when I say album, people, I mean it. While the turntable spinned, I spilled water on the slipcover, which was an illustration of a black and white comic strip of a party table. Had an ashtray, cigar, cards, poker chips, bottle of beer. And when the water hit the cover, the picture turned colors. How fucking cool is that? And how high do you think they were when they thought to do that? God, I dug it. Just about a year before our encounter, it was like seeing the Virgin Mary in a slice of tomato, but better. I went to a semi-reunion tour at the San Jose Arena. Just me, Robert, Jimmy, a date I don't remember, and 50,000 people. They had no opening band. Fuck no, they were Led Zeppelin. Okay, they were 50% of Led Zeppelin. Suddenly, with the house lights up and all of us still milling around, a full-string orchestra rose up from under the stage, playing the intro to All of My Love. Both of us almost fainted as we fell into the nearest empty seats, directly stage left. Somehow, by the grace of the golden god, we escaped our nosebleeds, and we were now eye level with the stage and crotch level with the gods. We felt the unmistakable slide of the violins, then the precise drums, the subtle but perfect guitar, and the sweet, sweet voice of Robert. Should I fall out of love for life? It seemed a blur, and without warning, I was staring at this man singing this song I had loved for so long, and the decades of booze and drugs and cigarettes just fell away. His voice was as clear as the day he recorded this song in 1978. He did not look the same, but he did manage to squeeze himself into the same leather pants, and I thought, if he could sing with that kind of constriction, he was even more of a king. And then there was Jimmy. Oh, Jimmy. He looked like the love child of Keith Richards and Marianne Faithfull, but he sounded like, well, he sounded like Jimmy Page. It was delicious guitar, delicious swan song, and it was history repeating itself right in front of me. That night, I fell in love with the creepy old Robert Plant. Little did I know he would soon be leaving his mark on me. So when he appeared in front of me again, this time mere inches away, my composure became that of a 3-year-old meeting Elmo. This is the song, la 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 la, Elmo song, la 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 la. For parents. My arms, excuse me. After dinner, when it was time to wrap on this Jim Jarmusch film, I was torn. I had never asked a celebrity for an autograph or a chat or whatever, but if there was any time to do so, this was the time. I had to ask him for something. So, as he began to walk out, I made my move. Mr. Plant, can I shake your hand? And suddenly, this old, drunk English character from a Dickens novel came to life and said, "Shake my hand, give us a kiss, love." And then, as he grabbed my arms and pulled me towards him, I instinctively turned my head to give him my cheek. And I felt this warm, wet smash of lips and tongue slowly slide up from my jawbone all the way to my temple. Robert Plant had thoroughly licked me. I stood there stunned and glistening, and a little high from his breath. And now I was surrounded by the kitchen staff, who were at the ready with clean plates and markers. They were getting autographs. And without hesitation, he grabbed the huge entree plate from my chef's hand and wrote, "To Rebecca. Love, Robert Plant." Chef was not pleased. He had only brought one big plate and many tiny bread plates on which he got a very small autograph. As Mr. Plant made his way through the crowd that had formed, shaking hands and spewing his 87 proof spittle on people, he turned to me and said, "I had such a nice time, love. Why don't I come back tomorrow night?" What? You must be serious. You wouldn't just say this. You must really be considering it. It must be true. Okay, I'll be here, Mr. Plant. I wanted it badly. I wanted it so badly. Badly enough to believe it. Badly enough to switch shifts because I wasn't actually working. So there I was the next night, a destitute waitress, slinging Kobe steaks, boeuf cocoa, and pine nut bread pudding, slaving away on the most famous bay in the world on this historic night that Robert Plant would return to me and once again make my skin crawl. It was love. But as that night came and went at an excruciatingly slow pace, I realized I was just one of 10,000 waitresses he had licked and promised to return to. My heart was heavy, my pride was hurt, and my face was moist.